What's up, people? Piz out here, and today I want to talk to you about 1982's The House on Sorority Row, as requested by movie club member Al, aka the Zodiac Killer, over on my Patreon. Now, The House on Sorority Row is an 80s slasher movie that I find myself rewatching on a fairly regular basis, because it seems like a slasher that I should like. But I don't. To date, I've seen The House on Sorority Row at least 4 or 5 times, and it's never changed my mind. Granted, it took at least half a dozen viewings of Final Exam before I finally came around to start appreciating that movie. But thanks to my buddy the Zodiac Killer's request, I've decided to give The House on Sorority Row another shot. Was this the viewing that changed my mind about The House on Sorority Row? Let's find out. The House on Sorority Row focuses on a group of sorority sisters who clash with their house mother while celebrating graduation, resulting in a prank gone horribly wrong. Soon after, all the sisters begin meeting their demise at the hands of a shadowy figure with a very dangerous walking cane. I think the manufacturer of this insanely stabby walking cane could be held accountable in a court of law. The House on Sorority Row is written and directed by former assistant to Brian De Palma, Mark Rossman, and you can tell that Mr. Rossman learned a thing or two from De Palma. The House on Sorority Row is a well-made and great-looking movie. Clearly, Mr. Rossman paid particularly close attention to the aesthetics, adding some giallo-like lighting and a hallucinatory third act. Mr. Rossman does a good job of establishing characters early on without affecting the movie's pacing. All the characters are fairly likable, but I find that Vicky, the character you're not supposed to like, is easily the most memorable, and the character that I like the most. Kudos to Eileen Davidson for playing such an extraordinary bitch in this movie. The movie also does a good job of keeping the identity of the killer a mystery. Is it the house mother back for revenge? Is it one of the sorority girls punishing her sisters for their lapse in morality? Or is it someone else? The drama between the sorority sisters stemming from the prank is handled well, never feels over the top, and the acting is pretty solid all around. And while there's a bit more going on in The House on Sorority Row than your average 80s slasher, I just have a very hard time connecting with it. The characters outside of Vicky aren't that memorable. The kills are pretty dry. Clearly they were cut down to appease the MPAA, and the finale? What were they thinking? Now, I've said this before, but when it comes to slasher movies, usually my least favorite part of the film is the big chase that happens in the third act between the final girl and the killer. There's a lot of running and screaming and hiding, and the killer, who prior to the third act was a samurai-like murder machine, now has rocks in their shoes and are clumsier than I am after a few shots of this stuff during a live stream. In the case of The House on Sorority Row, we get a very brief chase sequence and one of the most anticlimactic finales I've ever seen in a slasher. Instead of tension or suspense, we're treated to one character who's dosed with a mild sedative that elicits anything but mild hallucinations. When it comes to the confrontation between the final girl and the killer, it's over almost as quickly as it began. It almost feels like the movie is incomplete, and there are 10 or 15 minutes that are just missing. The reveal of the killer in the lackluster finale leaves us with a lot more questions than answers. Now, I can appreciate it when a filmmaker leaves things up to the viewer's imagination, but here it feels lazy and just really unsatisfying. The House on Sorority Row had potential and does a lot of things right, but when it falters, it does so big time. It's a middle-of-the-road slasher with some unique characteristics, just not unique enough to stand out from the pack for me. A huge shout out to my buddy Al, aka the Zodiac Killer, for requesting that I review The House on Sorority Row. Thank you for your review request, and thank you for being a patron. I really appreciate your support. If you'd like to have a say in what movies I review on this channel, follow the link in the description or head over to patreon.com/Pizal and join the movie club today. If you've seen The House on Sorority Row, please let me know your thoughts on it down in the comments section below. If you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up and share it on social media. If you're not following me on social media, those links are in the description. As always, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care, and until next time, peace. A big thank you to all my awesome Patreon supporters. I appreciate your generosity and support of my channel. Become a patron today and join me for monthly live streams and have a say in what movies I review on my channel. Patreon.com/Pizal or follow the link in the description. Say hello to the internet, Jeremy.
Hello to the internet.